my name is Cher. Welcome back to the Lathe and Loom Podcast. This is episode 5. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your support, and I welcome you back. And if you are the first time stopping by this channel, I welcome you, and I'm really glad that you're here. I'm a very small channel. I do have a goal. I would like to get to 50 subscribers with this episode, so I would love it if you could share, tell your friends, and help us see if we can get past that 50 subscriber mark. I think that would be really, really awesome. If I can do that, then maybe I'll put together a little yarny giveaway or something as a thank you. So appreciate that so very much. I'm going to try for a little bit shorter episode this time. Last episode grew quite a bit longer than I thought. But I've got really kind of one main whip, a couple of finished socks, and then I want to talk a little bit about my Jacob fiber spin and a little more about what I was spinning during Tour de Fleece. So let's get started. First, for finished objects, the only totally finished object I have is this pair of CSM socks, which I actually don't have to show you. I have gifted those to my sister. They were done on my 70 cylinder needle, and I will put the information. I'm totally blanking on the yarn. Not remember what yarn that was. I will put that in the show notes below. It was just a plain vanilla sock tube, and I did contrast heels, toes, and cuffs. I did, interestingly, if you'll notice in the photo, I unraveled part of the tube to knit the ribbing, which I think was a really nice option to have. And I think a lot of the sock tubes, particularly if I do 100-gram skein, I can easily unravel for the toe and the cuff, and it's fairly easy. I can just measure how much I want and unravel just a little bit more than that. So that was kind of a nice way to use the yarn and have them be coordinated. So that was the new thing I did on that project. I'm still really dialing in how to understand the gauge on the circular sock machine. If you saw in a previous episode, I have a Erlbacher Gerhardt Speedster, which I love, but I definitely want to get past the sock tube only. And although I can do a heel and a toe, I struggle a little bit with the sizing. So I thought doing the sock tube socks would kind of let me zero in on gauge and sizing on that. So hopefully more to come as we move forward on that one. And then I had a pair of hand knitted socks that I cast on for my husband, and if you follow me on Instagram, and the link I will put below there, I would love to have you join me over there on at Lathe and Loom on Instagram. I had started while I was in a waiting room a pair of socks. He had picked out the yarn. This is Earth Yarn's unique worsted self-striping superfine merino superwash. Details will be in that below. I love the way that this yarn kind of fades from the really deep blue and orange up to this pale, almost, it's very similar to my avocado pink dye, but kind of a salmon and faded. So I think it would be really, really interesting in a sweater to have that kind of fade coming in and out. Interestingly, I set my gauge. I did do a gauge swatch, or I swatched to the beginning of the toe. I measured, and I had in here, I said, okay, I need 5 inches. And then I really rethought that. I'm like, he's a size 14. I said, so I need 12 inches, less an inch for ease. So no, I need 7 inches. So I knitted 7 inches on the foot after I finished the heel. Well, turns out that the 2 inches I have been, which is my toe, because it's a rounded toe, so the toe is not super deep. But when I put that, so the toe is here, but the heel, and this is just my standard shadow wrap heel, the heel is more like, 3.5 plus inches. So I definitely got a lot more length out of that. So anyway, I had knit the whole thing up with 7 inches, put in the heel, bound off, and ran out of yarn halfway through the bind off. So I kind of grabbed a pair of gray, and then he got up the next morning and tried them on, and they were like, I mean, I had a whole toe too much, which was, I kept thinking it looked really big, but he has a big foot. So anyway, kind of funny. I ripped it out back to the start of the toe, the heel, which is very, very easy with a shadow wrap heel, and then put that back in the next day. So here is, I just did like a really short rolled cuffs. First time I've kind of tried that. I've not been super happy with the length of a ribbed heel, and this looked really good, and he really liked it. So he really likes a worsted weight sock. They're primarily kind of slipper socks around the house. So anyway, next pair is I've done the toe, and I'm kind of working through that, and that's just my on the go, don't have to think about it. I like to have one of those in progress sort of at all times. And then I had planned to cast on the Heart of Glass tee, and my pair of size 5, seems like I must knit things always in the same size needles, is on my Comfort Fade Cardi. So I was kind of waiting until I switched to the rib. I do have another set of size 5 needles, but I'd rather use my interchangeable. So I need to go ahead and get the swatch, but I've not started that as I had said I would. So a little accountability follow up there. I have to say, and I found this when I knit the Weekender as well, who is also by Andrea Mowry, or Drea Renee Knits. So this current knit of the Comfort Fade Cardi, there's just something about it. It takes me kind of a while to get into them, and then I can't put them down. So I believe where I'm at. I have split for the sleeves, and I'm working down through the body. I'm about 3 inches into. I'm loving how the fade is coming through on that. So these first 3 yarns are all Fru Valborg fibers. The colorways are below, but they're Dahlia, Ramshackle, and Fleece. And then my final color is A Life in the Long Grass. These are all Superwash merino yarn, DK weight yarns in garnet. So I'll be adding that. Anyway, so I'm about 3 inches of the 5 inches, and then I'll start the fade and then do the garnet section, and that'll be kind of the end of the body. And it has a big shawl collar on it, and I'm just really liking how it's working up. So the last podcast I was here, if you see my little stitch marker. So I've done quite a lot. I did travel one week, and I don't take large. That's why my husband's sock is done. I don't take large knitting projects when I travel, particularly when I'm traveling with colleagues in a vehicle. So so I have my little sock thing, but I did about a week I didn't work on this. So actually I was measuring it week by week. I think this was last Sunday. So this is fairly long rows. But so what I did for sizing is I'm kind of learning how to fit sweaters on myself. Fairly new to that. I did this as I'm knitting the 2XL size because I'm smaller on the top. And then I wanted to make sure I had good fit over my hips, which are larger than my bust. So I've got sort of down to right above the waist in the second fade, finished that off, and then I've been increasing in about 3 inches, and I increased to 2 sizes up to the 4XL, and so I'll have a little bit of a bell shape, or bell shape for that. So it comes in, fitted into the waist and then larger at the hip. And so I've got 6 more stitches to increase. I did a bit at the top, and then I've kind of knit straight, and then I've got 12 that I did in these last couple rounds to get the fitting. So hopefully that will It fit really nicely on the shoulders. I'm finding that definitely keeping it fitted above my waist is better for me. And it's just a really relaxing knit because, I mean, now it's kind of like knit, purl, knit, purl. I am looking forward to getting to the sleeves. I always, it's kind of funny. You always hear about getting onto Sleeve Island, but because I love to knit socks that round and round, and I use a 9-inch circular needle for my, main small circumference knitting. I find that we're just kind of really relaxing. So they usually just kind of fly off, and the only thing I'll have to really think about is the fade, which is pretty easy to memorize. So if you're looking for a really comfy, cozy sweater, I definitely recommend her. This is the second Andrea Mowry pattern I've written. They're written very clearly. She has very good pattern support, very good, online and tutorials. Sizing is very inclusive. I've found it easy to adjust, and so can't really recommend that enough. So that is really it for my knits in progress. So planning, I do have the Heart of Glass tee, which is in the show notes below. So I'm going to get that cast on because that was the summer tee, and I would like to be able to wear it. Although I'm in North Carolina, so obviously I can kind of go well into October with a lightweight sweater, so that should not be a problem there. And I've solved my knit nook socks on the needles. I find that one difficult. It's interesting. I switched this year to using Knit Companion for my patterns, and that one is a paper pattern. And I haven't tried to figure out how to put it into a PDF. I'm sure I can, but I'm finding that kind of slows me down because I have to stop. Even though it's not a long chart repeat, it's not one that I've been able to memorize for some reason. But I thought, I like the paper pattern because I would just have that on the go, and I wouldn't have to worry about having anything electronic. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure that out, but it's slowing me down. And I have not picked up my Even Star shawl. I haven't even picked it up in the last at least 6 weeks. So I really am getting quite behind on that knit along, and I need to work on that. I don't know why. That should be a really nice summer project. It's nice, lightweight, almost lace weight yarn. So we'll see. There's a fair amount going on, probably because I've been focusing more on spinning content, really. Or spending volume, trying to get some more stuff done and trying to get some of these fiber projects rolling a little bit further too. So just not enough hours in the day. Darn that work schedule. But I do want, the other thing I have planned is Nikki with Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. It put out a call several weeks ago to see if anyone was interested in doing a Marie Wallen knit along. I had purchased, I think during one of her sales, the KAL pattern by Marie Wallen, and I thought, I'd like to do that. I about a year ago, maybe. Now it's probably been 8 months. I think I did it in the fall. When the Woolly Thistle had their Baker's Dozen sale. I think it was a year ago. I think it was in December of 2019. I did a Baker's Dozen set of their Jamieson and Smith yarn, thinking I would do some color work with it. And I kind of had the KAL in my mind for that. So it seemed like a good opportunity. So Nikki is running this knit along, and there's several of the other podcasters that have joined in. Alexander from November Woods, Naomi from the Yarn Curator podcast, her sister Zoe from Felicity Yarn Studio, and they very graciously allowed me to join in as well. And there's a few others I think that are joining in after. So I'm really excited about being able to participate in that. I'm excited that to have a little bit of community around our knitting and our projects. So I would love for you to take a look at that. So it's going to be run on Instagram, starts August 1st. You may swatch before, but you may not start your project before. If you watch Nikki's latest episode, I believe it's episode 29, but I will link it below. She goes through that detail as well and shows you she's got a beautiful project. She's going to do the chestnut sweater. So if you really want to have some challenge with color work, that might be something to join in on. It's all over color work and it's pieced. I believe Alexandra is doing something a little more on the cable side. Marie Wallen. So Marie Wallen is not all just color work. So there's a good variety. She's got some accessories. She has some free patterns, quite a lot of free patterns. She's got a really lovely color work knitting needle holder that if I manage to get my KAL done early, I might do just because it's so lovely. But anyway, I'm going to do the Burra KAL. So this is a photo of that, or a few photos kind of as I talk through it. And so I took my little, I had my little baker's dozen set of Jamieson and Smith. These are little, I think they're 25 gram. Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight, 25 gram, 125 yards. So there's the label. So I got 13 of them in the kind of like a grab bag, so I really didn't know what I would be getting. And then every time I've ordered something from the Rolly Thistle, I've just thrown a couple more colors in. And I sat down last weekend and looked at the pattern. I have, and then there was a few colors I thought, I'm not going to have exactly what's in the pattern, but I think that's fine. And honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to plan it out in excruciating detail. I might sort of go with the flow. I did get a larger 50 gram skein of the more natural color and in the cream, and I added, I think, the purple and a couple of these mixed colors that have a little bit of, they're more heathered, just to kind of add a little bit of variety. This blue and this very pretty green. So yeah, this lovely purple. I apologize. I keep changing my setup and I don't think I've quite figured out the focus. So I'm sorry about that. I know that drives me crazy when I watch stuff. I'll keep working on it. I appreciate the patience and the feedback. I know some folks said the sound was better. I've now switched. I'm trying to camera this time as opposed to my iPhone, and I'm struggling with that a little bit. So hopefully it's okay, and I appreciate your patience. So that is the A Year of Marie Wallen Knit Along. I don't know if I said that. That's the hashtag A Year of Marie Wallen KAL. And you join on Instagram. So that's starting, you still have time to pick your pattern. I mean, you have a year, right? So even if you're not ready August 1, join in the fun. I will try to keep current with some things that are coming off of the hashtag in my Instagram stories. And I would love to see your projects there. Give me a shout out, give me a tag, share with your friends. It'd be nice to have this be a nice big community around this knit along. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to move on to a little bit of spinning content now. I have been spinning along for Tour de Fleece. I did not make my spin every day goal. Travel was some of that. Life was some of that. Honestly, I do all of my fiber activities as my kind of relaxation. I can't sweat it when I don't. I try to have some goals so that I have some plans, and if they work out, that's great. And if they don't work out, it's just not gonna stress over that. But so I did do this over here. This green I've been continuing to spin up. So this is a blue face Leicester that I bought in 2018 at the North Carolina Fiber Festival. It's spinning up really nicely. It's quite toothy. It's a little dry feeling, so definitely not as smooth as the Shetland I was spinning. So I'm trying to go for a little bit. I'm hoping it comes out to be a worsted Aran weight. The colorway is lovely. It's very variegated. So that's kind of fun. I've spun so much just natural, which tends to be my preference, and I'm finding myself lately kind of craving some color in my spinning, which is kind of a big departure. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm getting ready to try to do some natural dyeing, both on some yarn and some fiber with marigolds that I've purchased in the garden for that purpose. So hopefully on the next episode I'll have that to reveal. But I have tried to get back to working on my Jacob spin. So you might remember back in, might have been episode 2, I shared that I had done this. This is a single from the black Jacob. I purchased a full Jacob fleece named Sibelius, who contributed that for me. And just to sort of kind of recap a little bit, and you can definitely go back. I've got a lot more photos on that. I believe it's episode 2. This is some of the washed raw fleece, and you can see even in this, and I will pop a picture of Sibby here. She's a beautiful lady. That there, this is a variegated, there's multiple colors. So there's the black. Of course, you have the tips that are, kind of faded out a little bit. And the tips are good integrity. They're staying on. And then there's quite a bit of gray and then white as well. So I washed that all up. I have been, tried to separate it out into the black, which I spun, which is off that singles. And you'll see even within this, I noticed, so this is about the staple length, or this is the staple length of the black. It's quite long. And then I've separated out some of the gray or the kind of more mixed, about the same staple length there. So that'll spin up. And then yesterday I worked on getting some of the cream. So again, I had washed and flicked. So this is kind of the washed, and I've flicked the ends with a little, kind of like a dog brush, I guess, if you're not familiar. And this is really interesting. This had this is kind of about the length of the staple. There's a little clump there. So it's pretty long. It does have a good amount of spring in it, and crimp. That's quite... Again, I apologize if I'm not getting this focused. I will keep working on my technical skills. Anyway, so I kind of put that through. Some of it was crazy long. I mean, I actually thought I was going to have to cut it to get it. This is from a different part of the animal, so it's depending on where it is from the neck down to the tail end, which I think is the britch. Don't quote me, I'll to double check my sheep facts. This is quite long. It gets a little bit coarser. So the white seems to be, and I'll have to look at where it was on the animal itself. The white seems to be coarser, and I think there's little Kemp, which is, if you're not familiar with wool, and I'm just learning myself, it's more like a hair as opposed to the fleece fiber. But that will fall out. There's little bits of gray. There's not much of it. It's actually still a very soft fleece, even on the coarser ends. Not as soft as this very fine Shetland, of course, but it is, I mean, I can wear it. I'm pretty sensitive and I don't find it scratchy. So this, I have then taken 1 ounce of those flicked locks and carded it on my brother drum carder, and I ran it through 3 different times. Now what I found is when I have shorter stapled fiber, so not as, the staple is that length of the fiber itself. I've fetted it, those pieces in individually. I pull off one of this bat, and when it's shorter stapled, I could just feed the bat back through. I could definitely not do that in here. It was hanging up the carder. So I then stripped this down into 4 pieces, and then I pulled pieces off to feed it back through. And so this is 3 passes. I think that's showing up. I hope it is. It's trying to focus on me. But it's just really lovely. So my plan is to do, I have another ounce. I wish I'd have weighed it all, and I have a little ounce and more, like a smidge. So I'm not quite sure if I'll do that. That might go into my marigold dye pot, because I would like to participate in the wool and spinning. They're doing a Jacob color and breed study now, and I think it'd be nice to have. It's the kit, I was a little bit slow on getting ordered, but the kit that they did for that had some colors that you could then spin in with the natural, and it was actually a really nice effect. So I may do that with that little leftover bundle. So more to come on that. So that is kind of what I've been doing with spinning. Going to eventually get some weaving content in. I don't know why I've been a little reluctant to sit down to my loom lately, but it's calling me. It sits right in the middle of our kitchen. Well, not in the middle, off to the side. I pass it every single day, and my beautiful Strickler 246 pattern is sitting there saying, finish me, finish me. So maybe I'll get some of that recorded for the next episode. That would be a nice goal. So that's really all I have today. I appreciate you so much hanging out with me for a little bit. I would love for you to leave a comment. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Join me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you're working on. Tag me and give a comment, and love to see, if you'd like to see more of something, something different. I would love to have your feedback. So thanks so much for joining me. Have a great week. Happy knitting, spinning, dyeing, weaving. Bye-bye.